A few months ago, my husband Henry started coming home late from work. At first, he told me it was because work was getting busier, and I believed him. But then he started going out several times a week, and I couldn't help but notice something was wrong. I felt anxious, but I didn't know what to do. Should I confront him? Or would I seem too paranoid? Then one day, my friend Amanda came over with a serious expression on her face.
Laura, I have something to show you. I don't know how to tell you this, but...
She showed me a post on social media. My heart sank. The picture was of my husband laughing, his arm around another woman, someone I knew well. I felt anger, confusion, betrayal, all at once. But without solid proof, what could I say? I couldn't just accuse him. So I stayed quiet, kept observing. I needed to know the truth before making any decisions.
I've just been so stressed at work, Laura. I needed an escape, you know?
That's what he said when I finally confronted him with the photo. I showed him the picture, expecting some reaction, but maybe an apology. But instead, he looked at it calmly and shrugged as if it was nothing.
Yeah, that's me. So what? It's not what you think, we're just friends.
His nonchalant response cut deep. How could he say that so easily? Meanwhile, the woman in the photo, his so-called friend, continued posting about us, mocking our family. It got worse. She even started calling our house, leaving rude messages. My heart turned cold. I felt so alone, but at the same time, my resolve grew stronger. I decided to hire a private investigator. I needed proof of his affair, something I could hold on to. It didn't take long before I found out that this woman wasn't the only one. My anger intensified with every new discovery. But then, one day, after being gone for almost a month, my husband came home. He casually walked in and handed me a piece of paper, smirking as he did.
Here, a little something for you. Consider it a gift.
I looked down and saw what it was. Divorce papers. I could feel my blood boiling, but I forced a smile. He wasn't expecting that.
Dad, do you even understand what you're doing right now?
My daughter Emma was calm, yet piercing words caught him off guard. That's when I knew it wasn't just me anymore. My daughter was also ready to fight for what was right. My name is Laura. I live in a nice apartment in the city with my husband Henry and our daughter Emma. From the outside, everything seemed perfect, like we were the ideal family. But looking back now, I realize how much I ignored. I met Henry when we were both working at the same company. He was charming, confident, and popular, especially with the women at work. I was just one of the many who admired him from afar, but something about him drew me in. He was always smiling, always so focused on his work. He seemed like the kind of man who had it all together. Eventually, I decided to take a chance. Henry, would you like to grab a coffee after work sometime? Just the two of us?
Sure, I love that. I could use a break.
From that day on, we started spending more and more time together. At first, it was just casual, but before long, we were dating. It felt like a dream. I couldn't believe that someone like Harry had chosen me. But even while we were together, there were always other women around him. Amanda, one of my closest friends at work, had warned me multiple times.
Are you sure about Henry? He's friendly with a lot of women, you know.
I know, but I trust him. I mean, we're together now, so I have to believe in that. Looking back, I realized how naive I was. I was blinded by my love for him, or maybe it was desperation. I didn't want to lose him, and maybe that's why I ignored the signs. Over time, it seemed like Henry understood how much I cared because he started being more serious with me.
Laura, let's get married. What do you think?
Really? Yes, I'd love that. After we got married, Henry's career took off, and I decided to stay home and take care of our daughter, Emma. When Emma was born, Henry was over the moon.
Emma's so precious. I'm never letting her get married. Not in a million years.
You're getting way ahead of yourself, Henry. Those were happy times. We felt like a real family supporting each other, or so I thought. But as the years passed, things started to change. It wasn't sudden. It was slow, almost unnoticeable at first. By the time Emma turned 12 and was getting ready for middle school, I began to feel it. Every morning, we'd have breakfast together. I'd see Henry and Emma off, and then I'd wait for them to come home. Our routine seemed normal, but something was off. Henry started coming home later and later. You're late again. I've been worried. Is everything okay at work?
Sorry, Laura. Work's been a nightmare lately. I've got so much overtime.
I wanted to believe him. I wanted to support him. He worked hard, and I respected that. But his nights out started to increase, and my anxiety grew with them. One evening, after putting Emma to bed, I couldn't take it anymore. Henry, is everything really okay at work? You've been acting strange lately.
Not this again. I'm just busy, Laura. Stop worrying so much.
His words stung, but I let it go. I didn't want to push him. But as I sat alone in the living room that night, the loneliness crept in. It felt like we were growing apart, like he was slipping away from me, and I didn't know why. One night, Henry called to tell me he was staying at the office overnight to finish up some work. I wanted to believe him, but something didn't feel right. I called Amanda to see if she could find out what was going on.
Henry left work hours ago. He's not there.
I stood frozen, the phone shaking in my hand. Where was he? What was he doing? Why was he lying to me? I didn't have the courage to confront him directly. That night I didn't sleep at all. The next day Henry came home as if nothing had happened. That was the moment I made up my mind. I had to find out the truth. Henry, I need to talk to you. Where were you last night?
I told you I was at work. Why are you asking?
I called the office. They said you left early. I watched as his face tensed for just a split second before he quickly recovered.
Oh, right. I met up with a friend after work. We went for drinks. I didn't want to worry you.
Really? Is that all?
Yeah, I stayed at his place because I had too much to drink. Sorry.
He was lying. I knew it. But I couldn't bring myself to push him further. I felt so defeated. As the days went by, Henry's nights out became more frequent. I felt like I was falling into a dark pit, spiraling deeper with every passing day. The happiness that once filled our home seemed like a distant memory. Henry, please. I'm begging you. Just tell me the truth. What's happening between us?
I've told you 100 times already, Laura. I'm just stressed, okay? Can we drop this?
His words were cold, dismissive. I could feel the cracks in our family growing wider, but he didn't seem to care. All I could do was cry in the dark alone, while Emma's innocent smile became the only thing keeping me going. Then one day, Amanda came to me with something that would change everything.
Laura, you need to see this. I didn't know how to show you, but I think you need to know.
She handed me her phone, and there it was. Henry and another woman, arms around each other, laughing. But this wasn't just any woman. It was a coworker of mine, someone I thought I could trust. And this is Henry. Why would he do this? Why was she?
I don't know, Laura. I'm so sorry. I saw the post and thought you needed to know. It's public too. Anyone can see it.
My hands were shaking as I stared at the screen. Why would she post this publicly? Why would she flaunt it like that, knowing I could see it? Why? Why would she do this? What does she want?
Maybe she wants you to know. Maybe she's trying to push you. I don't know, but you need to decide what to do next.
Her words sent a chill down my spine. It felt like my world was crumbling, but I had to stay strong for Emma. That night I sat alone in the living room, holding my head in my hands. How did we end up here? How could the man I trusted betray us like this? And how could I face Emma with this hanging over us? I thought about confronting Henry, but I knew he would just lie again. Without definitive proof, he would keep spinning his web of lies. And what about Emma? How would she handle this? Could I tell her the truth? I didn't sleep that night. My mind was racing with thoughts of Emma's future. As the days went by, Henry's behavior didn't change. He kept coming home late, kept making excuses, and I kept holding back, waiting for the right moment. One day after another petty argument, I reached my breaking point. This is you, isn't it? I shoved the photo in his face, the one from the social media post. For a moment he looked shocked, but then his expression quickly shifted to indifference.
Yeah, it's me. So what?
So what? So what? How could you say that? Why are you doing this to us?
I told you, Laura, I've been stressed out. I needed a break, okay?
His casual admission took my breath away. All this time he had been lying about work, about staying late at the office, and now he just casually admitted to seeing someone else. You think this is just a break? What about Emma? Do you even care about her?
I'm not saying I don't care about you or Emma. I just needed some space, alright?
His words, his tone, they were so flippant, so detached. I couldn't believe this was the same man who once promised me the world. You have a family, Henry. There are other ways to relieve stress that don't involve betraying your wife and daughter.
Oh, come on. Don't be so dramatic. It's not like I don't care about you two. It's just... sometimes a guy needs a little distraction, you know? It wasn't serious.
His words were like a dagger to my heart. I could feel the love I had for him slipping away, replaced by a deep sense of betrayal. How can you say that? How can you brush it off like it means nothing?
Because it doesn't mean anything. You're making this a bigger deal than it is.
I stared at him, feeling the last remnants of my love for him drain away. That night, as I sat alone on the couch, I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. For Emma's sake, I had to do something. I had to fight for her future. A few days later, I took the plunge and hired a private investigator. It wasn't an easy decision, but I couldn't bear to live in the dark any longer. The day I met with the investigator, my hands were trembling, but I knew this was my only way out. Please, find out the truth. I can't live like this anymore.
Don't worry, Laura. We'll get to the bottom of this. You'll have the answers soon.
Weeks passed, and I waited anxiously for the results. Then one day, the investigator called me with the proof I have been waiting for.
We have everything. He's been staying at another woman's house. We have photos, videos, it's all here.
My heart sank, but I knew this was the moment I had to face.
There's something else, though. I'm afraid the situation is worse than you thought.
What do you mean? Worse how?
It's not just one woman. Your husband has been involved with multiple people.
What?
Here, take a look at these photos.
The investigator handed me a stack of pictures, and as I flipped through them, my hands began to shake. There in the photos was another woman, someone I never expected. No, it can't be. This can't be real.
I'm sorry, but it's all true. Our investigation confirmed it.
My mind went blank. My body felt numb. I couldn't believe it. The betrayal cut deeper than I ever imagined. That night I sat alone in the living room, staring at the pile of evidence. The proof was right in front of me, everything I needed to confront Henry, everything I needed to end this nightmare. But somehow I couldn't move. My mind was spinning with thoughts of Emma. How could I tell her? How could I explain that her father was destroying our family? The next day I took the stack of evidence and started preparing for divorce. For Emma's sake, I needed to be strong. I had to get through this. A few days later, I met Amanda again.
Laura, are you okay? You don't look well.
I'm fine, I'm just tired, that's all.
Don't overwork yourself. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
Her words were kind, but I couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. She didn't know the full extent of what I was going through, and I couldn't tell her yet. Then the day came when Henry announced he was going on a month-long business trip. He told me only 3 days before leaving, and I knew right away it was another lie. I watched him pack his suitcase in silence, my heart cold and distant. Emma watched too, looking sad, but I didn't have the strength to reassure her. I knew the truth, but I couldn't break it to her just yet. As Henry was about to leave, I followed him to the door, determined to keep up appearances for the sake of Emma. Take care, Henry. Don't push yourself too hard.
Thanks, Laura. Look after Emma for me while I am gone, okay?
He smiled as if nothing was wrong, as if the last few months had been a bad dream I had imagined. I forced a smile, but inside I was screaming. Come back soon, okay?
Yeah, I'll be back before you know it.
He got into his car and drove away, leaving me standing in the doorway, watching as his car disappeared into the distance. I turned to Emma, who was watching me closely.
Mom, is Dad really going far away?
Yes, honey, I think he is.
When he comes back, can we go on a trip, the 3 of us?
I couldn't lie to her anymore. My heart was too heavy, and the truth was burning inside me. Emma, there's something we need to talk about.
What is it, Mom?
I knelt down in front of her, taking her small hands in mine. Her innocent eyes searched mine, and it broke my heart. It's about Dad. He's been seeing someone else. Another woman.
What? But why?
I don't know why, sweetie, but it means that he might not come back to live with us. Her eyes filled with tears, and for a moment she just stood there trying to process the news.
So, Dad doesn't love us anymore?
I don't think that's it, Emma. I think he's just lost his way. But no matter what happens, I'm here for you. Always. Emma looked down at the floor, her little body trembling with sobs. I pulled her into my arms, holding her as she cried. We're going to be okay, Emma. We'll get through this together. As I held her, I felt a deep sense of resolve. I wasn't going to let this break us. A month passed, and Henry's business trip dragged on. But I knew the truth. The private investigator had been sending me updates regularly. Henry wasn't on a trip at all. He was living with the other woman. And one day, without warning, he came back. Welcome home, Henry. I'm glad you're back safe.
Thanks, it's been a long trip.
He smiled that same empty smile, pretending everything was normal. How was work?
Busy, but I brought you something.
He reached into his suitcase and pulled out a small envelope, handing it to me. When I opened it, my breath caught in my throat. It was a signed divorce agreement.
I've been thinking about things, Laura. I think it's time we move on. You'll be free, and so will I.
His casual tone, the way he presented it, like a gift, made my blood boil. Thank you. I took the envelope with a smile, even though I wanted to scream. In the corner of the room, Emma was watching, her face full of disbelief.
Dad, do you even care about us?
Henry looked taken aback by her words, but quickly regained his composure.
Emma, this is grown-up stuff. You wouldn't understand.
Grown-up stuff? You're leaving us to some other woman, and you think that has nothing to do with me?
Her words hit him like a punch to the gut. I could see it in his face. I couldn't help but feel proud of her. She's right, Henry. You've been irresponsible and selfish, but we'll be fine. We're stronger than you think.
You'll be fine? Without me?
Yes, and I've already made arrangements. I've hired a lawyer, and we've gathered all the evidence. Emma and I are going to be just fine without you. Henry's smug expression faltered. For the first time, he seemed to realize the gravity of the situation.
You've hired a lawyer?
That's right, I'm protecting Emma and myself, something you failed to do. He was silent for a moment, clearly processing what I had said.
Well, I guess you've made up your mind then.
Yes, I have. With that, I took out my phone and called the lawyer, informing them to proceed with the divorce. Henry watched in stunned silence as I ended the call. That night, he packed a few things and left, claiming he'd be staying at a hotel. I didn't stop him. I didn't look back. Once he was gone, I went to Emma's room. She was sitting on her bed, hugging her pillow tightly. It's going to be okay, Emma. We're going to be okay. Emma didn't say anything, but she nodded, her tears soaking into her pillow. Over the next few days, I started planning for our future. I had already spoken to my lawyer about moving forward with the divorce, but I knew there was more to be done. I couldn't just let Henry get away with everything. That's when I remembered someone from my past who might be able to help me. The next morning, I made a call to someone I hadn't spoken to in years, my former colleague, Sarah. She had a reputation for knowing everything about everyone. Hi, Sarah, it's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. Well, Laura. This is a surprise. I thought you forgot about me. What's going on? I need your help, Sarah. It's about Henry. He's been cheating on me, and I need to find out more about the woman he's seeing. Sarah chuckled on the other end, her voice dripping with amusement. So, the golden boy's finally slipped up, huh? I've always known something was off about him. Tell me everything. I explained the situation, how I had hired a private investigator, the evidence I had gathered, and the fact that Henry had been seeing multiple women. I want to make sure he can't just walk away from this without facing consequences. You came to the right person. I know a few people who can make life very difficult for someone like Henry. I'm more than happy to help you out, Laura. He deserves it. Sarah's words, though slightly chilling, gave me a sense of relief. She had always been a bit ruthless, and that's exactly what I needed right now. Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Don't worry about it. I'll get some people on this, and we'll dig up everything we can. In the meantime, stay strong. You're doing the right thing. After our call, I felt a renewed sense of determination. With Sarah on my side, I knew Henry wouldn't be able to hide from the mess he'd created. Over the next few days, I focused on getting things in order for Emma and me. I began looking for a new place to live, somewhere fresh where we could start over. Emma, too, was adjusting to the changes. She was brave for her age, stronger than I had imagined. Emma, what do you think about moving to a new house? A place where we can have a fresh start?
I think that would be nice, Mom. I don't like how things feel here anymore. It's like everything is broken.
I know, sweetie, but we're going to fix things, okay? We're going to be just fine. It wasn't long before Sarah had called back with some news.
Laura, I've got something for you. It turns out Henry's been seeing more than just one woman. In fact, there are at least 3.
3?
Yep, and get this. One of them? It's Natasha from your old office.
Natasha is the woman who used to work with me, who had always been friendly even after I left the company. I felt sick. Natasha? Ugh, I can't believe it.
Believe it, honey. She's been seeing Henry for months. They're practically living together when he's not at home with you.
My mind reeled as Sarah continued.
I've also got some dirt on her. She's been involved in some shady stuff at work. Henry's just another part of her web.
This is unbelievable. Thank you for finding all of this. I don't know how to process it all right now, but I'm glad to have the truth.
Anytime, just let me know what you need next.
Hanging up the phone, I realized that the person I had trusted for so long, the one I had built my life around, had been lying to me in more ways than I could have imagined. I knew I couldn't let Henry's betrayal destroy me. I had to fight back, not just for myself, but for Emma. Over the next week, I prepared for the divorce. I made sure my lawyer had all the evidence, all the photos, videos, and details that Sarah had helped gather. I wanted to make sure that when the time came, I was fully prepared for whatever legal battle Henry thought he could win. Finally, the day came when I had to meet Henry to discuss the divorce.
So I guess this is it, huh? We're really going through with this.
Yes, Henry, this is happening. It's what you wanted, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, but I didn't think it would get this serious.
You didn't think? That's the problem, Henry. You never thought about how your actions would affect us. Henry shifted uncomfortably in his seat, his usual smug confidence shaken.
Look, I didn't mean for things to get so out of hand. Can't we just settle this quietly?
Quietly, after everything you've done? No, Henry. We're doing this the right way. I have a lawyer, and you'll be hearing from them soon. His face paled.
A lawyer? You're really not letting this go, are you?
I have nothing to let go, Henry. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. With that, I stood up and walked away, leaving him sitting there, stunned. It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. For the first time in months, I felt like I had control over my life again. A few weeks later, the divorce was finalized. I moved Emma and myself into a new home. a bright, open space filled with light and possibilities.
Mom, I love this place. Can we decorate my room with all my posters?
Of course, sweetie. This is our home now. We can do whatever we want with it. As we unpacked and settled into our new life, I felt a sense of peace that I hadn't known in a long time. Henry was out of our lives, and though the scars of his betrayal would take time to heal, I knew we were on the right path. Emma was thriving in her new school, making friends and finding joy in the little things again. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. Free from the lies, the deceit, and the pain. It wasn't an easy journey, but it was ours, and we were moving forward, stronger than before. Weeks passed, and life began to feel normal again. Or at least, a new kind of normal. The wounds Henry had left behind were healing slowly, but the future was no longer something I feared.
Mom, guess what? I got an A on my science project.
That's amazing, Emma. I'm so proud of you. We should celebrate. How about pizza night?
Yes, with extra cheese.
Moments like these reminded me that even in the midst of heartache, there were still reasons to smile, still moments of joy to cherish. Emma was my rock, and together we were building something new, something better. Every now and then, I would think about Henry. I wondered if he ever truly regretted what he had done, but those thoughts didn't stay with me for long. One evening, as I was tidying up the living room, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Sarah.
I thought you'd like to know. Henry's not doing so hot these days. Looks like the woman he left you for dumped him. Karma's real, huh?
I stared at the message for a moment, feeling a mix of emotions. Thanks for letting me know, Sarah, but honestly, I don't even care anymore. He's out of our lives. That's all that matters.
You're right. You've moved on, and that's what counts. Just thought I'd give you a little update. Take care, Laura. You deserve the world.
I smiled. Sarah, despite her tough exterior, had been a true friend throughout this ordeal. She had played a key role in helping me get through the darkest moments, but now I was ready to stand on my own. That night, as I tucked Emma into bed, she looked up at me with her big, innocent eyes.
Mom, are we going to be okay?
Yes, sweetheart. We're going to be just fine. I promise.
I'm glad. I like our new house, and I like our life now. It's just you and me, and it's nice.
It is nice, isn't it? I kissed her forehead and watched as she drifted off to sleep. Her words filled me with a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time. We were okay. We were more than okay. As the days turned into months, I threw myself into my work. I joined new projects, made new friends, and slowly began to rebuild the pieces of my life. Emma continued to thrive at school, and our bond grew even stronger. We had movie nights, cooking experiments in the kitchen, and long walks through the park where we'd talk about everything and nothing. I feel like we're building something really special, Emma. It's not just a new house, it's a new chapter.
Yeah, it's like a book, right? And we're writing the story.
Exactly, and it's going to be a beautiful story. That night, after putting Emma to bed, I sat in the quiet of our living room and reflected on the journey we had been through. From the pain of Henry's betrayal to the strength I found in myself and my daughter. Life had tested us, but we came out stronger. I looked around our new home. It was filled with memories already, of laughter, of new beginnings, of hope. And I knew that no matter what challenges came our way, we would face them together. As I turned off the lights and headed to bed, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. Tomorrow is a new day, and we're going to make the most of it. The future, once so terrifying and uncertain, was now something to look forward to. Because I knew that with Emma by my side, there was nothing we couldn't overcome. This was just the beginning of our story. The story of how we found ourselves, how we found happiness, and how we moved on from the past. And as we continued writing our story, I knew it would be filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities.